WFSU-FM now presents a delayed broadcast of the Economic Club of Florida luncheon meeting of February 3rd, 2015. This program was recorded at the Florida State University Alumni Center in Tallahassee. Now here's Economic Club of Florida President David Micah.
It's now my privilege and very distinct honor to introduce our speaker today. I think everyone in the room knows John Thrasher, and I think everyone in the room is familiar to a large degree about his whole biography, and if not, there's a part of it there. I want to move from the script just a little bit and introduce you to a friend. I've known John most of my career in Tallahassee, which is now about 35 years working on the hill, if you will, up there. And of all the things that I know that he has achieved and accomplished, I know the thing that he treasures the most and the thing that I believe may be his greatest accomplishment, and that is, and I hope you will help me recognize, the First Lady of the Florida State University, Jean Thrasher. Would you please stand? Together, they've accomplished a lot. John, in his political career, I have called him Mr. Chairman. I've called him Representative. I've called him fellow lobbyist. I've called him Mr. Speaker. I've called him Senator, Chairman. I've called him Mr. Trustee of his university, Mr. Chairman of his alma mater. I know that he and his friend, the late Jim King, are the two people that I consider that love their alma mater as much as I love mine. He absolutely treasures the place. There's buildings named after him, and he's going to accomplish so much more. I know his love for his wife and his children and his grandchildren, and there's gators in that group, Mr. President, which is a great thing. I know the kinds of things that will be set forth in the fall when Mira attends the Florida State University, and for future generations because of his distinct and admirable leadership. So I wish that you would stand with me and welcome to the podium the 15th president of the Florida State University, John Thrasher.
Thank you, Thank you, Governor. Congratulations. It's an honor to be on the podium with you. It really is. Thank you. Please sit down, please. That was entirely unnecessary, but I appreciate it, David. I didn't deserve it. I don't deserve the arthritis I have in my knee either. Let me say something about my lovely wife, Jean. I know we can't match you, Governor, but we just celebrated in December our 50th wedding anniversary, and proud of that. Jean tells me at least 25 of them have been pretty good. Probably the 25 I wasn't involved in politics. Something that'd be exactly. I want to just a couple of things I want to do before I start my formal remarks. We have several of our senior staff folks that are here that I treasure, that I work with every single day. Sally McCrory is here, our provost, our interim provost. Thank you, Sally, for being here. Carolyn Egan, our general counsel, is here. Thank you, Carolyn, for being here. And I understand our Vice President of Government Relations, Kathleen Daly. I haven't seen Kathleen, but I heard she was here. There she is back there. Thank you all for being here. If there are any others who I didn't see, Tom Jennings, our Vice President of Development. Thank you for being here, Tom. Our foundation, all of those. Thank you. Thank you very much. Governor Mixon's honored to be on the same podium with you. You have an incredible legacy that I, as a young lobbyist, as a young legislator, certainly admired and continue to do so. Thank you for your service to the state of Florida. Absolutely. Thank you, sir. I also want to mention one other person who's here that I really have a strong relationship with. I'm a little bit reluctant to do it after hearing James Harrell say something about people who say something about their religious background. But Justice Major Harding is here. He's a dear friend. Many of you know he just did some work for Florida State University, which I'm proud of. I wasn't able to talk to him during the period of time in which he was doing that, but as soon as that event was over and he had completed his work, I called him and thanked him, and as usual, he said nice things and all that about FSU and me and other things. And then at the very end of it, he said, "John, where are you going to church?" So I said, "Well, we're looking around. You know, we haven't lived here, so we're going to go to several places." And he said, "Well, I want you to come to my church." And I said, "I did. We did. Gene and I came to his church. We made a mistake. We went to the 11:15 service. He goes to the 9 o'clock service. So last Sunday, I had to go back to the 9 o'clock service. Otherwise, he would have never let me forget it." David Micah, you've had a distinguished career, and thank you for all you've done for the petroleum industry, but also the way you handle yourself in Tallahassee is an honor and a privilege to work with you. I want to talk, obviously, about Florida State University, and if it was a kind of a state of the state of address, this might be what it's about, some of the good things that are happening here. I'm just tickled to be here. Gene and I both are. We've been here now. By the way, next Monday, it'll be 3 months. Some days it seemed like 3 years, to be honest with you, but it's been an incredible 3 months. And I have to tell you, the most favorite thing to do that I've had to do is interaction with our faculty, interaction with our students, and certainly interaction with the folks in the community here who love Florida State University. Now, I realize there's some Gators here. I realize that. My good friend David Micah is a Gator, and there are probably a few others, I hope only a few, scattered around here that were able to get in. But look, I mean, we care about the Gators, and I want to tell David, and I've told him this, the University of Florida, just like FSU, just recently hired a new president, and he is a distinguished scholar, really a nice man. I've looked forward to working with him. He and I are going to work together on a lot of issues that really relate to both of our two preeminent universities, Florida State University and University of Florida. I do have two son-in-laws who are Gators, I'm sad to say. And they are the fathers of 5 of Gene and I's 8 grandchildren, and I fight for the hearts and minds of those grandchildren every single day. But now, I think I got a little bit of an advantage. So we're going to explore that advantage over the next several months. But we're on a solid foundation at Florida State University and in which to build on. And I think some of the things that we achieved in 2014 might have gotten lost in some of the haze that was created by some of our friends outside of this university, perhaps. But let me just list a few. We launched a $1 billion capital campaign. Tom Jennings is right in the middle of that. We set a record in research funding. We hired a number of key new research faculty. We helped our students win top national grants and scholarships. We sailed through the reaccreditation process that universities are supposed to go through every 10 years with no required follow-up. And we continued our tradition, obviously, of competing at the very highest level in intercollegiate athletics. And we ended with some very, very positive national rankings, some of which you may not have heard about. In December, the Kiplinger Personal Finance named FSU one of the best values in the nation. We're ranked number 15 among large colleges for combining outstanding academics at an affordable cost. In December, the Military Times named Florida State number 8 in the nation in its latest Best Colleges for Veterans in their rankings. And we've received a national award in November in recognition of our exceptional progress in increasing and retaining graduate veterans. Last year, when I was in the legislature, we had the opportunity to pass what I consider some of the most significant legislation that is aimed at asking veterans who want to come back to our universities that this is the place, the state of Florida, to be if you're a veteran and you want to come back and continue your education. And one of my goals is to continue that activity in ensuring that Florida State University becomes the most veteran-friendly university in the state of Florida. I think we owe our veterans nothing less than that. Thank you. And with the new year underway, I'm excited and optimistic about our future in the coming months. I'm going to focus on a number of areas, and I've told our staff this, I've told anybody that'll listen, what I'm going to spend my time doing. And by the way, somebody asked me one day, John, how have you enjoyed being president? What is it like? And I've said this, I know Carolyn's laughing, and I know Sally is, Tom, they've heard this 100 times. A good day in the life of the president of the University of Florida State University is when I don't hear from the athletic director. Think about that for a minute. Yeah. But I'm going to focus my energy on about 5 major areas. First of all, our national rankings. I think it's important, we'll talk a little bit about that we continue to rise in the national rankings of public universities. Increasing our faculty salaries is something that I believe is very, very important to our university. Attracting more research dollars, achieving our positive legislative priorities, and certainly, last but not least, raising money for our Raise the Torch campaign. Let me first of all talk about rankings. It's not just about the numbers so much. It's really not. But it is important. People look at where are you in the list of universities around the country in terms of the things that you're doing in research, attracting great faculty in your programs. And certainly one of the things that we want to do, as the legislature has asked us to do, is to achieve the top 25 rankings among public universities. I'm confident that we're on our way to doing that based upon the strength of our academic programs, our faculty, and our students, that we've had success in several areas. And students, by the way, this is an example, this young lady is an example of the kind of folks that are coming to Florida State University. In spite of all and I would say we had some negative press last year, in spite of all of that, this year's incoming freshmen, we had more applications, first and foremost, this year than we did the last year for this incoming freshman class, and they came in at a higher SAT score and a higher grade point average. We are attracting some of the best and brightest young people in the state of Florida to our university, and I'm very, very proud of that. And we've had success in a number of other areas. Our faculty members have attracted more than $200 million in research dollars. In this past fiscal year, it was $230 million, and we're going to try to set a record this coming year. The academic quality of each incoming freshman class, as I said, continues to grow and rise every year. Last fall, another good statistic that you should know about is that 93% of our students who began their freshman year in the 2013 year returned for their sophomore year. What does that mean? That means that the kids that come back that second year have an incredible opportunity then to graduate. And that's so important. The national graduation rate we're measured on. And this past year, our graduation rate for the 6-year period of time in which it's measured was 79%. 5 years ago, it was 74%. 3 years ago, it was 77%. We're increasing that graduation rate and making sure that our young people actually get out and get a job. Let me say something about getting a job, by the way, and you should know about this too. About 4 days ago, we had a career festival, if you will, at the university. We had 160 employers come to Florida State University to talk to our graduating kids, as well as some of the ones who aren't graduating. They just wanted to go through the experience. Over 2,000 of our students showed up for that particular thing, and it was amazing. The firms who come here are so proud of the young people that are graduating from here. They're well prepared. They all look nice. They all look like you guys do, except younger. But it was an amazing experience. I went over there and spoke to them, and just at lunch, we had 1,000 kids there in the audience, and 160 of our finest, really, firms around the state. And it's an amazing thing that's happening. That, to me, when you connect the dots, and I connect the dots on a couple of places. One's graduation. That's an incredible experience. The other, obviously, is seeing young people who have aspirations to go out and find their hopes and dreams and the things that they want to accomplish in life, that they're able to get the job that they want to get. It's an amazing thing. Increasing the size of our faculty is critical to meeting the university's goals, and I'm pleased to tell you that in the past 2 years, we've hired more than 100 new faculty members, and this has given us a net increase in the number of tenured and tenured track faculty, and it's another important point in terms of our national rankings. And by the way, the reason that's important is because Like everybody else, during the downturn, Florida State University had to tighten its belt. And I think all of you know that, particularly the people that are here in business and understand that. We had to tighten our belt. We're now catching back up in terms of creating opportunities for our research faculty and obtaining that goal, as I said, of being in the top 25. And part of that, of course, is the STEM fields, which we are hiring more and more professors. Those are expensive hires: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. They're because they usually come with laboratories, a lot of them, those kind of things. And it's not just simply hiring an individual, but it's hiring the other things that are so necessary for them to do the kind of great work that they do. So we're hiring some real stars in energy and materials, coastal marine ecosystems, brain and health and other types of diseases. And while we've touched and focused on improving the university's overall rankings, it's important to note that many of our colleagues in graduate programs are already recognized in the top 10. Here's just a sampling of a few of those rankings, by the way. Business Insider just named the FSU College of Law the & law school in the state of Florida, and number 32 in the nation. And in fact, it's the only law school in Florida ranked among the top 50. In addition, the Hispanic Business Magazine ranked our law school number 2 as the best in the nation for Hispanic students. In other rankings, the College of Criminology and Criminal Justice was just named number 1 in the nation for its faculty research. School of Information's graduate program in library media is number 1 in the country. Our College of Education's graduate online programs are ranked number 2 in the country. The film school, we have a great film school here, is number 5 in the country, and our College of Music, which I know many of you know about, is ranked number 5 in the music programs in universities. Let me just mention briefly about salaries. Not that I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I came here and I understand that markets have driven our salaries to be out of whack. We're paying now young professors, assistant professors, almost the same amount of money as some of our more distinguished professors who have been here a long time. We are working, the provost and I, on an market equity program that we hope to rebalance that and ensure that those good professors that have been here for so long continue to be here at Florida State University, because it's important that we keep that kind of knowledge, that kind of wisdom, those kind of research folks that need to be here in this kind of institution. And we're doing more and more in research, as I said. Again, last year, $200 million. This year, we want to create, hopefully, opportunities for $300 million. In addition, our faculty transform their knowledge into products and services and that can help people in our economy and society as a whole. Last year, we had 39 patents approved or granted and 25 license deals signed, and 7 startup companies were created based upon FSU research. And out of that comes jobs for our local economy right here in Tallahassee. Some of our large research centers have had great success in forming partnerships with major industries. For example, the Florida Center for Advanced Aero Propulsion is working with major automotive, aerospace, and military contractors to do a variety of testing and using advanced tunnels. Our National Magnetic Field Laboratory, by the way, which is a premier place. Scientists from all over the world come here every single week to do their research at that lab, and it's doing amazing things. Our research efforts have had great economic value. The true benefit of research is grounded in the people we help and the ways we make society better. From autism to Alzheimer's, early childhood development to aging, if there's an issue that affects your life or someone you know, the chances are that our researchers are working on that. And let me say a little bit about the legislature getting ready to start. I think I'm a little familiar with it. I hope I have a little shelf life left over there for Florida State University. But we have a number of things that we're going to be talking about to our friends in the legislature. We're going to be continuing to request the preeminence dollars. 2 years ago, the Florida legislature designated, as I said earlier, FSU and the University of Florida as the 2 preeminent universities in the state of Florida. Well, what does that mean? It basically means that we get some extra money. We get some extra money, us and the University of Florida, for the kind of things that I've talked about, hiring the best and brightest faculty. So we're going to go back to the legislature this year. In addition to the $20 million of recurring dollars that we've received last year, we're going to ask for another $10 million in respect to STEM hiring and other types of operational expenses that we think are important for us to, again, achieve the top 25. There's also a performance-based funding model that was established by the Board of Governors. And last year, because of the way we met the criteria that they set, we received an extra $21 million. And so we're going to continue to do that. We have a number of issues that we want to continue to work on in terms of facilities, and that's been a problem the last few years because of the downturn of the economy. Those capital dollars have been tough to come by. I once told TK and I told Sandy and Eric Barron this, that when I was a member of the legislature, never let the sun set on Florida State University without a crane being on it. And the same goes for where we are this year. The Board of Governors just approved $36 million for the Earth, Ocean, and Atmospheric Science Building. That's in addition to another $40 million that has been approved for that building. We expect that legislature to approve that, and we'll break ground this summer on that very, very important building. We have several other buildings, so a STEM teaching lab. We have a proposed interdisciplinary research commercialization building at Innovation Park that we're going to start. We're going to start the queue for the School of Business. A lot more to say about that at another time. So we've got a lot going on in that particular area. Florida State also has asked the legislature, and we, along with our friends, to reinstate the Cortellis Matching Fund, a fund that was a very, very appropriate fund where someone would provide resources to a university and the legislature would match that. We're going to see if they can reinstate that given the economy we have today. The capital campaign, as I mentioned earlier, and I don't know, I must have been crazy when I accepted this job that I got to raise $1 billion. That's a lot of money, Spider, a lot of money. I've heard. I know you could write a check for it, or Bill, or a couple of you. But in case you can't, we've got to raise another $500 million. Half of it's been done, more than half, Tom will tell me. I'm sure a little more than half of it's been raised. But we've got a long way to go. That's a lot of money to raise. We're going to have to make our case for that to the people who love Florida State University, who care about it. And we're going to do that. Tom and I and others have been out working hard on that to tell the story of Florida State University to ensure that $1 billion goal is met. It's $1 billion, a lot of money, and it'll do a lot of good for Florida State, but it's also makes sure that our students, who are the ones who will be the beneficiaries of that, have the best opportunity to achieve their hopes and dreams. Those dollars will help in that regard. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us this year. We're fortunate, obviously, particularly in this room, to have so many alumni and friends around the nation who are supporting our efforts. We've had the support of state and local government, and because I believe Florida State truly is and provides a really good return on investment. I've heard that our governor is interested in that when he signs the appropriations bill. He wants to make sure that those dollars that are being provided to us are returned in a positive way. And I think based upon student spending, the university budget, and estimated spending at FSU, the economic impact, I'm told, on our economy is about $4 billion. That's a lot of money. And directly or indirectly, FSU has an incredible impact on this local community. And I know that everybody who lives here understands that. So let me just close by saying a couple things on a personal basis. I love Florida State University. I really do. And Gene and I are going to do everything we can to make you proud of our stewardship of this great university. Many people across the country have questioned some things that have happened here, but I want to tell you, this university is alive and well, and we're going to do everything we can in our power to make it even more so for the young people who come across the streets of this great college. It's a unique place. It's a unique opportunity for our young people, I think. I still think it's the best opportunity for a young person to get a great education and pursue their dreams and the things that they want to accomplish in their life. And so we're going to work hard to accomplish that, and I hope you will join me in sharing the great story of Florida State University. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. President Thrasher has agreed to answer a few questions. Our club tradition is that they come from members only. Dominic, you're recognized. I gotta just say though, I've heard about this FSU Law School thing, as my son is he's a diehard Gator undergrad, and he just recently graduated and passed the bar from Florida State University, and he's very proud of the fact that it is the #1 ranked school in Florida. Mr. President, Dominic.
Do you really have to call him Dominic? Really?
There you go.
I've been reporting to Dominic for many years. And in fact, I think I've been on his turkey list a number of times over the years.
As Seminole, I'm very proud of your president. And Gene, love having you there as our person. I do have a question for you.
Sure.
It's $5. Performance funding, $21 million is a good start. What have we done, and what can we do yet with a little bit more capital?
Well, again, the goal is to get in the top 25, and the performance funding as well as the preeminence funding is going to help us. And what does that mean? I mean, everybody says, well, how does that translate? Well, I have 2 degrees from Florida State University. It opened so many doors for me. We live in a very, very competitive world today. I don't have to tell you all that. And so if somebody graduates from Florida State University with a degree, and we're in the top 25, University of Florida, aspires to be in the top 10, and they will be. I guarantee you that. Those degrees then mean, I believe, a lot in terms of the substance, in terms of the ability to get a job, in terms of the ability to go out and do the kind of things that young people come here to do. And that's ultimately to pursue their dreams. So the dollars help us, Dominic, in getting the kinds of professors, the kinds of staff that we want, the kinds of buildings that we think we need in order to do the research that's so important for a research university such as Florida State. Those dollars are going to help us get into that. Every university in the state of Florida can't be in the top tier. I mean, in terms of the kinds of things, the research we do and the programs that we have. So the legislature has selected University of Florida rightfully and Florida State University rightfully to aspire to those goals. And I think we need to do that for the young people who come to this university.
John, what are you going to do in the area of entrepreneurial development so we get more startup businesses right here in South?
Right. Absolutely. Good question. And Gary Ostrander, our Vice President of Research, is working hard on that. We have a lot of patents that come through here. The key, though, is making sure those patents have something that you can pursue in terms of a license, in terms of development. We're working hard on that. Vice President Ostrander is really working hard on it. And we've got a number of things that we're going to do out at Innovation Park that I think will enhance the ability for startup companies and entrepreneurial types of operations to do that. It's high on our list of priorities and one that we share with you. Absolutely.
I have a question. Is it on?
Yes.
I have a question about the convention center. What size convention do you plan to accommodate, and who is the target audience to come here?
Yeah.
How many conventions a year
Gosh.
pay to
We're going
return on it?
Sure. That's good. Those are all good questions. We've looked at some of the numbers there. We're also working obviously closely with the county government, the city government, because we think the impact for both of them will be significant. I think we're in the early stages of that, to be honest with you, and we have a lot more work to do before we can get to that point. But that whole area around the Tucker Center is certainly ripe for good development, as well as the Madison Mile down. We're continuing to work with local governments on that and some other opportunities along that area too. But I think aspirationally we want to accomplish that. We'd love to have a hotel in that area. Love to have the as you said, the center there. So there are a lot of things, but they're probably a little bit down the road. My first goal in that area really is you probably know, we recently were able to get a land swap with the state of Florida for the site of the next School of Business. That's going to be right on the other side of the Tucker Center, the opposite side of where the law school is. That is going to be a world-class facility, and I think will spark some of the other development in that area. Yes, sir.
What are the prospects for separating the engineering school?
We're going to continue to work with the legislature and our friends at Florida A&M and the Board of Governors on that project. Yes, sir.
President Thrasher, I want to say that obviously you faced a lot of challenges even in your short time as president, but certainly one of them was the very tragic shooting at the library. And as a psychologist, I want to say that I am very, very pleased with the way that the university, and granted you guys have gotten a lot of negative publicity, but I think the things that you did for your students in making them aware, making the resources available, the mental health services, pet therapy, and I don't think a lot of people know about that. So would you talk just a little bit about the things that you did as a university to ensure that the mental health needs of those who were traumatized by that were addressed?
Well, they were, and everything you said is accurate. Certainly, that I have to tell you, 10 days into my presidency, that wasn't in my playbook. I can assure you of that. Jean and I were in New York getting ready to meet with some donors actually the next day, and came back early that morning. And I want to tell you, our staff was remarkable. They did an incredible job. Our student government did an incredible job, and all of the things that you said about the mental health issues, certainly this young man who was the perpetrator, we know definitely had some very, very serious problems. Out of all that came some very, very positive things, such as ensuring that we have those kind of programs available when we have an incident like that. I hope we never have another one. I pray we never have another one. But the other thing that came out of it was the incredible feeling of family that our students brought back to us. I was concerned about them. I came back, we had a press conference at 10 o'clock in the morning to kind of, see where we were, assess where we were. Our law enforcement folks locally, as well as our campus folks, were remarkable in their response to that particular incident. You've probably heard that they were there in 2.5 minutes of the time in which the active shooter had engaged, and he was taken down in a very, very short period of time. Since then, we know we had 3 injured people, 2 students and 1 employee. The most seriously injured, it's a good opportunity if you don't mind if I use this in your question. Ronnie Ahmed was the most seriously injured student. He was shot in the back 3 times. He is probably paralyzed from the waist down. I went to visit him at the Shepherd Center in Atlanta about 3 weeks ago. The resilience of this young man and his family is absolutely amazing. And I am proud to say, and I know that our staff, Sally, myself, others, Carolyn, all of us have been working. Ronnie will be returning to Tallahassee on February 15th. And he's going to have some adjustment time, no question about it. But we're working on getting him a vehicle. Transportation, obviously, is going to be very important, certainly a place to live and accommodations, not only for him, but his mother, who's going to stay here with him for a while, I think, and then to get him reintegrated back into our School of Engineering. And one of my goals, if I have any at all left after all the other things we've talked about, is to see that young man graduate from Florida State University. He's a very, very bright young man, and he's a junior in engineering, and I think we'll accomplish that. But a lot of good things out of a very, very tragic event, I think, has inspired me, certainly, and our students who were so responsive to that incident. And it made me again feel like, yes, we are a family. When one of our family members are hurt, the rest of us suffer, but we also pick up the pieces and we move on. And I think that's what we've done at Florida State. Thank you all. It's been great. Thank you very much.
So, President Thrasher, it's my great pleasure, if I may, to present this bronze eagle cast by local sculptor Sandy Proctor in appreciation for your service and remarks to us today.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You've been listening to a delayed broadcast of the Economic Club of Florida luncheon meeting of February 3rd, 2015. This program was recorded at the Florida State University Alumni Center in Tallahassee. Join us again next time for another Economic Club of Florida luncheon meeting on WFSU-FM.